Hello and welcome to Beyond the Spectrum podcast brought to you by Bloom Garden Schools. Here we invite you to join us to delve into some really important matters in regards to special needs education.
You cannot look at an individual and give them a math problem, expect them to solve it so that you can identify them as intelligent.
Let us just embrace these learners with what they can do, with what they are capable of, not what we think they should do. It actually revolves around them, not what we feel. Let's embrace their abilities, their skills. Yeah, let's not measure them or rather, let me say, limit them to something else.
Thing that we are facing as Africans is inadequate teacher training or personal training.
Yeah.
Very few individuals are trained to take care of these SME children. In that, you find even those who are there to train, even the resources and facilities to train them are not enough.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Spectrum podcast brought to you by Bloom Garden School. Here we invite you to join us to delve into some really important matters in regards to special needs education, especially today, where we shall be talking about special needs education and the matters of the grading system and how we can improve whole child development. I have a great set of panelists here, great individuals and professionals from Bloom Garden Schools who are going to be helping us to delve further into the matter. And I would like to invite them to introduce themselves right from my left.
Awina Cheryl Sibia is my name. I'm a special needs teacher at the Bloom Garden Schools, autism ambassador as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dorcas. My name is Simon. I'm a special needs educator at the Bloom Garden Schools.
My name's Timothy Juma. I'm an ICT instructor at Bloom Garden Schools. Karibuni sana.
Thank you very much, Timothy. And thank you much to our viewers. Once again, welcome. And it's a day of celebration for us. We are on our drum rolls, on our 8th episode. Thank you very much. If you haven't watched our previous episodes, please go to Beyond the Spectrum podcast on YouTube. You can check it out. You can also follow us on our TikTok pages where we post some snippets of the episodes that we are posting every day. So today we are going to be diving on a very, very diverse matter that we often hear from so many people, but very few people are willing to challenge it. The concept of grading. We understand that in our mainstream schools, or rather growing up traditionally, we could see that the concept of grading was like a big deal. That's how teachers could gauge whether a student could go forward to the next class or maybe move on to high school from primary school or to campus. That's what determines majorly the success rate of a student. So in special needs education system, is grading a thing? Can we say that the grading system is a thing in the special needs education system? Maybe you can help us, Cheryl.
Okay, for the grading systems, I'll talk mostly about the flaws about the grade focused system or methods of learning. There are so many flaws that are in the grade system or method ways of learning. For example, we find that in the grade system methods, it focuses mainly about the academic parts only.
Yes.
Leaving behind the non-academic skills, which are important for the special needs learners. Because we find that in most cases, the special needs learners are not likely to gain or maybe to gain a lot from the academic side only.
Yes.
But you find that the grade focused system it mainly focuses on the academic side. So the the learners with special need cases mostly are not likely to gain much from it, because it ignores other skills, for example, things like social,
Yes.
emotional, and even the life skills, which are very important in the life of a special needs kid.
That's very true, Cheryl. Thank you very much. And I think that we also can understand that when we fail to focus on some areas with our neurodivergent individuals, they lag behind in those areas. For instance, we can talk about for instance, the language development area. When we're talking about language development, it's something that maybe we can say in the mainstream schools is not something that they focus so much on. They're only looking at, can the child communicate, period, can they understand what the teacher is saying, and then they go forward to bring in the child into the school. So how can we say, Simon, that this grading system, the traditional method of grading, is failing our neurodivergent individuals?
Well, just as Cheryl has said, this method is very narrow, and it takes the minimum most view of how we see our learners. If I'll give an example, a child, whether neurodivergent or not, has a family setting whereby the dad is doing a different thing, the mom is doing a different thing. That is career-wise. We also have other family members who are into some other fields of career development. And then each of them comes to this one child and tells them, you know, I am a doctor. You need to work hard to one day become like me. Another family member who is in another profession comes in and says the same. We also have this child, his own abilities, his own strengths, and his own identity. Now, he is going or she is going to be frustrated because since the dad scored a given grade that managed to get him a position in a given area, this child is going to struggle to label himself with the grades of the dad, or sometimes grades of the mom, or even grades of these other elder or older family members. So in this case, I think this method of grading people fails so much and so terribly, especially when it comes to neurodivergence. Yes, because there is so much potential in them and there is so much ability in them, in that they might not be able to maybe solve a math problem, but they can play a guitar so swiftly,
Yes.
that everyone will stand watching them, or even will be amused at how good they are in doing that. But again, because of the grading system in the traditional modes and ways of teaching, this child's potential might fail to be nurtured.
Yes.
And I think that is one of the areas that we really need to look into.
Yes, in the
Yes.
traditional system of
Yeah.
grading. Tim, what do you think?
Maybe just to echo in on what my colleague has said, let's check in more in the school systems. Yeah, used to find that you'll find a teacher, for example, maybe when he goes to class and he starts labeling learners or rather individuals, you know, based on, or rather even let me say measure their success in regards to their performance. Because there used to be words like, you know, let's be quite honest, there used to be words like huyo ni A material, you know, mtu wetu, or
They're used to the student always being at the top.
you know, I remember back in school they used to say ati wale A material ndo wamekaa mbele, wale tutakuwa madaktari, maloya, manini, and then you find sisi wenyewe tunaitwa watu wa mikono okay
Or
you know,
rather, the students who are performing so well in sports, they are not recognized in the area of excellence in
exactly,
academics.
you know, and you find that these learners, they have the ability, you know, because some of them are very good in football, some are very good in maybe, let me say, table tennis, music, you know, they have a lot of abilities, but it's not just being recognized. They only focus on the academic part. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that was the
It's really
thing.
failing
Yeah,
terribly.
it's terrible.
If you were to be grading, if you think of it like this, Mr. Tim, if you were to be grading your ICT students as their instructor, how do you think the academic side of grading would fail your students?
If I were to be grading my academics,
If you were
my
to be grading
ICT,
your students,
my students. Well, let me give it in this instance. We have a learner, probably, okay, for example, in ICT, I have a learner that does know how to operate a computer swiftly. He knows how to Python, he knows how to access applications, but when it comes to typing and identifying numbers, he's out. You are getting it. And we also have a learner who is actually able to identify numbers and also, let me say, sounds. But when it comes to now the technical parts of now accessing those applications and doing anything, they cannot as well. So I believe it wouldn't really work on my end. It will, because everyone has their own abilities. Just like I was saying, everyone has an ability that they can be able to do this or that. So let us just embrace these learners with what they can do, you know, with what they are capable of, not what we think they should do. It's okay. It actually revolves around them, not what we feel. Let's embrace their abilities, their skills. Yeah, let's not measure them, or rather, let me say, limit them to something else.
I think that is, when you say it like that, that is where we bring in the concept of IEPs, individualized education plans. Can you tell us more about that, Cheryl? The individualized education plans that are used in class for the students in special needs education sectors.
Okay, so I can say for the IEPs as a teacher, when you're making a goal for your students, it will be fair if you consider all the domains in the developmental sector. For example, while setting a goal, you should not only focus on the academic side. Try to consider also things like social, emotional, and even the motor goals as well. So that the students with their special needs cases can at least, or can be catered up for without being left behind, or without being left maybe ignored or neglected in any way. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think when we are talking about it like that, we bring in the concept of our topic today of whole child development. So when we talk about whole child development, we are going to be talking about the 5 pillars of development in a child. Can we name them? The 5 pillars, of development. Maybe Tim, you can help us with naming them.
Thank you, Dorcas. When it comes to the 5 pillars, we have the cognitive development, we have the emotional development, as my colleague Cheryl was mentioning. We have the cognitive, we have the emotional, we have the motor development, we have the language, and now finally we have the social development. Yeah, they play a part.
They play a big role. So how do we integrate them in the IEPs? How do you bring them in the IEPs to ensure that we capture the child wholly when they are learning? For instance, let's talk about cognitive development. How do we make sure that cognitive development is fully captured in our IEPs? Simon.
Yeah, when it comes to special needs education and learning, an IEP is a very crucial part of it, because as we set goals, we do not only set goals for academic purposes. We set goals for social skills development. We set goals for motor skills development. We set goals for language skills development, and also to enable this child develop emotionally. Now, it reminds me when I was learning. There was this theory that we used to struggle explaining to our lecturers and tutors, the gardener's theory. So if I can go back to it, it tells us that there is no way individuals are intelligent in just one area, or there is just one way of measuring intelligence. You cannot look at an individual and give them a math problem, expect them to solve it so that you can identify them as intelligent. You can have this person, assess them in every scope, in everything that they do. You can even take them out for, let's say, games, see what they can do in the field. Take them to the pool, assess their swimming skills, have them in the kitchen, have them maybe in some workshop somewhere, and also even take some of them to team, assess their IT and computer skills. So when we are making an IP, the design and model for almost all the IEPs that I have come across usually cover all these dimensions. And I think it is helping us to run away from the grading system that has been used traditionally, or that is still being used by some other education systems. So I think it is important that we understand all these areas when we are maybe making an IEP for this
for the
learner.
students.
Yes.
Okay. And I think in that area we can talk about the model of teaching that we usually use in our schools. For instance, the Bloom Garden Autism Academy, where we have the early intervention and the young learners who are coming in, and then you have to if you're teaching them, you have to teach them based on their ability, like you're walking step by step with the kid and what they are able to do, right?
Yeah.
So what model are we using here?
In our school and in our institutions of special needs education, our models are usually learner-based. In that, if I want my child to solve a math problem, I'm not just going to come up with a method, have them solve the math problem. That one will be to satisfy me, but not to meet this learner. So most of these tasks are broken down into manageable, smaller tasks that will lead us to achieve the larger objective.
Goal.
So we tend to employ the learner-centered method of teaching. In that, I see what he or she can do, then I develop it into what he or she is now supposed to be doing at that level. Yes.
Okay, that's a good one, Timothy. Thank you. And I think in that we also incorporate the Montessori system, right? This is where we are bringing in the student and working with them based on their ability, right? So how do we also ensure that we grow on the social development for the child to be able to interact with the others, to be able, such kind of things? Maybe Cheryl, you can chip in.
Okay, so for the social development domain, it's more about the ability of the child to maybe form meaningful relationship with peers.
Yes.
And even with adults as well. For example, you find that kids with autism, they struggle mostly with the social skills part of them. So we find that in this area, as a teacher, you should be able to come up with the social skills instructions to help the kids living with autism thrive well in the education setup, so that the kids are not maybe neglected or maybe left behind as per the learning process.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. How about the language development sector, Timothy?
When it comes to language, we need to recognize that our learners in the spectrum actually communicate in different ways. Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
And sometimes you find they are also lacking in language,
Yeah.
some of them.
Sure, sure. So, and also they are they are different models of communication. Yeah? We have the verbal, we have the, the gestures. So, when it comes to language and development, what I would say is, like I said in the first place, it all depends with the learner. What are they able to do, or rather, what are their abilities? Yeah. So, let me take for instance, I have a child, or rather, I have a learner who is able to, let me see, I have a learner who is able to actually communicate, but not verbally. They are able to be able to use these, let me say, gestures, or even assistive technologies that maybe they might have been taught, with the institution to use. The learner, yes, cannot communicate verbally, but he can be able to use these items, for example, to say what they want, show what they feel. It doesn't come down just to the AACs. We also have other assistive technologies such as the visual cards, the emotional cards, where they're able now to express how they feel, the schedules. So to language and development, I can just say they all communicate in different ways, and some also have challenges communicating, but I always believe that everyone has a thing that they can be able to do. So it's more of us being able to find what this learner is able to do, or rather what this learner is able to achieve at the set, or rather at the point at which he is. And as Simon said, it's more of breaking it down in simpler steps to be able to enable them, or to be able to equip them to be able now to progress further, or to even to communicate more better. Yeah. So yeah, it all comes down to a lot of things, even including the emotions, which is also part of the pillars. So maybe now coming to emotions, the what are the emotions? This is just how a child is able to recognize, understand, and also express how they feel.
And regulate their emotions.
Definitely. Yeah, and regulate the emotions as well. So these are very important factors that we should be able to check in, so as to ensure that we are helping this child develop in all these sectors. Now, let me actually, I remember something. There was once an instant where there was a meeting happening somewhere. And these people were just having a serious talk. And so we had this learner. Allow me to call him Lana, who was there. And he happened to laugh, loudly as the talk was going on. So you see, people might tend to, rather the individuals or the group that was there might tend to misunderstand this child by saying they're disrespectful. They don't, they don't actually consider what is happening.
They don't understand the room.
The room. But in actual sense, this child was probably having some overload that he was trying to let out. So it all comes down to understanding these concepts, so that we can be able to also consider these learners and not only try and shape them to fit the societal norms.
Exactly. And also creating awareness out here for people to understand how these areas are important in our learning institutions. And then the last one, we have motor development. Maybe you can expound more on that, Mr.
Okay. All these domains, they correlate, they interact, all for the...
And they help each other to grow.
They help each other to bloom. So when a child has an issue with the cognitive part, the emotional part of him or her is going to struggle. When a child has a problem with the motor skill, let's say the social part of them is going to struggle. Now, as we are handling them, let's look at them generally and wholly, in that as we are working on one domain, let us be cautious enough not to suppress the other. Now, talking of motor skills, this is where we engage our muscles. into performing tasks. And in neurodivergent children, sometimes it becomes a challenge in that someone might be able to, let's say, read or even speak what they feel. But now when you tell them, now let's do this, they start struggling. They might be able to identify this is a ball, it is supposed to be kicked. That's a track, you can run around it. But now, when you start telling them or engaging them into maybe kicking the ball, running around the track, or something as simple as taking a pencil and making marks on a piece of paper,
Or even buttoning their shirts.
yes, or even buttoning their shirts becomes
It becomes a problem.
problem. Yes. So one of the areas or the things that we do in order to help these learners attain these areas is introducing or incorporating things like the occupation and motor therapy. You see? So this is where the specialists assist them into doing what they are currently able to do, even if it is just taking a pencil and throwing it out. We will throw that pencil until the day we will realize, now this pencil is supposed to make a mark on this piece of paper. Even if it is clapping hands, we will clap our hands with them until the day we will realize, now as we clap our hand, we are supposed to clap it to a certain tune.
Yeah. Or after an event.
After an event, yes.
Yeah.
If it is about running, we will run anywhere, helter-skelter, until we realize now, for competitive running, we are supposed to take this direction from this point and finish there. So we start from where we are with the child at the moment, and then develop it.
Just moving progressively.
Just moving progressively. I cannot come into the therapy room, find a child and give them a pencil. I want you to draw for me a cow. I don't think if myself I can draw a cow. Well, no jokes. I don't think if I can draw a cow. But you see, there is some child who can draw for you that cow, and then you sit down and watch them just do it. It is because it was developed from a stage to where they are right now.
Yes. Clearly, the 5 pillars of development are very crucial, especially when we are developing the IPs, when we are trying to gauge how far the student has come and what we are going to include as part of their goals in a semester, right?
Yeah.
So when we are talking about these 5 pillars, I think we should expound more on the like how we can include holistic goals into these 5 pillars to ensure that the child keeps growing and keeps, developing. Like how can we recruit holistic goals? And when we talk about holistic goals, we are talking about including the 5 pillars of development into our IEPs. How can we include them in our IEPs? That is what we are asking. I'm sure our viewers are curious to know, how do we include them in our IEPs? How do we include them in our everyday teaching to ensure that the students keep learning and learning?
Yeah.
Maybe we can start with Timothy.
Yes, thank you, Dorcas. Maybe to set on that, let's say, for instance, I am creating an IEP for ICT, yeah? So first things first, I always know that we have to work as a team. Yeah, I have to consult the teachers that the learner is, the teachers of the learner, or rather the class at which the learner is, learning at, so that I can know what are their goals. So that when I know what are their goals, I now come to my end and I also add to it, It's more of supporting the learner with what he's doing in class and also in the outside spaces, while also still learning ICT. Now, let me give an example. Let me say we have learner, let's name him learner A. So learner A in class, maybe some of his goals is for him to be able to, let me say, identify sounds such as, let's say, A to R, sorry, R to A, and maybe to identify numbers 1 to 5. Yeah. So when I come into ICT, I won't majorly focus on maybe, let me say, powering on and off, let me say, how to access applications. I can also incorporate it in such a way that I'm also teaching him to be able to identify the same things through the computer. That's more in the visual concept. Yeah, I can have numbers that actually resemble the same ones that you guys are using in class, you know. And so I'm showing it to them. This is one, this is two, in more of colored pictures, or even video games, because we do have it for them, you know, for them to be able to learn the numbers, the music. They can be able to see, for example, there's a song that goes, you know, number one, you know, but now, yeah, now he's like looking at it and he's like, oh, so this is the same number one that maybe teacher Cheryl teach me in class, you know. So also, let me maybe talk about also motor. By him being able to actually adjust in difference, because when you come to computers, you learn that the strength required to type is very different from the strength required to actually power on the machine or even move items around, e.g. the mouse. So it also adds in their motor as they are learning maybe to move that mouse around. They know, so, oh, if I move this mouse to this way, it does this, you know. And by them moving, it actually also helps them to be able to engage their body muscles, you
Learn
know,
about choices and effects of the
choices,
choices.
exactly,
Yeah.
in different ways. Yeah, so it's more of coordination with your team, and also ensuring that whatever you're creating is also coming in with whatever is being created in class. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Timothy.
Thank you.
Maybe from the class perspective, when you're with your students, Miss Cheryl, how do you think we can bring in the holistic goals into our teaching and IPs?
Okay, so for the classroom integration, there are so many ways to include the holistic goals or the holistic ways of learning. For example, we can have different sessions, like maybe time for music, some time for maybe art, time for things like even maybe life skills and social skills, social groups,
Yeah.
to help and to help in the different strengths for the different kids as the kids who are maybe in the classroom as well. Yeah, and also we can find that and during maybe during forming of the IEP goals, which is more about the personalized. It's more about personal learning or personal maybe goals as well. So maybe when creating the goals, maybe at the beginning of the term, you can include a goal that involves all the domains that involves maybe academic, the goals that involves maybe social and even the emotional skills as well. Yeah.
Okay. I think we should also be keen to note that our neurodivergent individuals often, not all of them, but oftentimes we find that they lack in some of these domains. For instance, you could find that a child is very, very good in their language skills, but is lacking cognitive skills, you know. So when we are putting down, or rather making these goals for the term, you find that we have to ensure that we include a goal from every domain to keep growing them. Because as much as we want them to succeed academically, we also want to see growth in some of these other lacking areas. And I know one of the areas that are very keen for people to notice a lot is language and motor. So maybe you can tell us how do we incorporate language development and motor development in our teaching and IPs to ensure that it is fully captured, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it takes us back to making of the IEP, and then the first step we take in implementing this
Yeah.
IEP. Now, we've been saying this, and I think it is good we do it repeatedly. These domains of personal development, especially in children, they interrelate, they coexist. So when I'm making an IEP, let's say I want my child to identify verbs and use, let's say, just use language in communication or even expressing themselves.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to, let's say, formulating an IEP goal for language, I will have to consider what are the child's strengths when it comes to emotional skills? What are the child's strengths when it comes to cognitive skills? What are they able to uh, see, say, understand, do? You think?
Yes,
You see
yes,
these
yes,
things, eh?
yes.
In that, by the time I'll be making that goal or I'll be putting that goal under my IEP goals, I will have covered
Every
what
area.
this child is able to do or understand in every aspect of his development. In that, when I am working on this goal in language development,
Yes.
I boost a bit of emotional development in him. I boost their social skills. I boost their motor skills.
Yeah,
And
sure.
how is that going to happen? I think it is going to also happen depending on my approach and my resources
Yes.
that I'm going to use in teaching. So I think it is also very important to note. Yeah.
Okay. And currently in Kenya, we have the CBC, the competent based curriculum that we are using for the children, or rather for the students in the mainstream schools. How can we use it in our special needs education schools? Like, how can we utilize it to capture our needs and ensure that it helps us to keep growing in the special needs education system?
Yeah, that is a very good one, Dorcas. CBC, it is a new system that is being rolled out in Kenya currently in the education sector. When we look at the CBC framework, CBC design, CBC objectives, the main aim of CBC is to ensure that a child is developed
Yes.
in all areas and
Yes.
in all aspects. Now, I wish we could have another session like this whereby we will just talk about CBC,
Okay.
because I think that is one of the first areas that I majored in before I did what I am currently doing. So by looking at the framework of CBC, it gives the thought of having an IEP. It breaks down learning to individual levels.
Yes.
And also, the activities of learning that are contained in the CBC books or documents of learning and teaching somehow resembles that one that we use in the special needs field. In that, when it comes to assessments, grading, or even evaluations, we do not only evaluate a child in one area.
Yes.
So a child's potential is evaluated, assessed, and graded depending on what they are able to do and where they are able to do it. And also in CBC, the learning areas are so diverse in that in a set of students, you find each learner is able to do the same thing in their own way by just taking part in different activities.
Yes.
You see? So I think if properly implemented, CBC can be a very good tool to educate our neurodivergents.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It can be well utilized.
Yes,
It can promote individualized learning.
very perfectly.
Okay.
Yes.
Sawa. So we have talked about CBC. We have also, CBC is now one of our major practices or curriculums that is going to work if well utilized in the special needs education.
Yes.
And when you are starting, we have discredited grading in special needs education system. So now maybe we can expound more on some of the global ways that we have seen, not just maybe in Africa, but let's look further, like outside Africa, into the world. Let's go into the world and see what ways are working, or rather, what ways have we seen working for special needs education system or for neurodivergent students. Maybe we can start with Cheryl.
Okay, globally there are some practices that are being used that are doing good so far. For example, in countries like Canada, we have this approach of child-centered inclusive education, where it's more about the concentration is on the child, like how can this child learn best, what are the things that should be done for this child to move from this place to the next level. And also it involves more about inclusive. All the learners with diverse needs must not be left out at any cost. And I think it's a very good approach because it involves every learner. Then we also have this approach of teacher developmental. Here it's mostly focuses on more training for teachers to get more information of how to handle different types of learners, because in a class of 1 to maybe 60 students, they can't be learning the same way. There
Yeah.
are so many ways that each and every one of them have for them to maybe get a concept or to maybe to even thrive in the learning process as well. Yeah. So this approach is doing well so far. And yeah.
Do you feel like we are integrating them in our schools here in Kenya?
Yeah,
in
in
the special
Kenya,
education
in the
system?
special needs section. So far, I think some schools are really trying to
Integrate it.
integrate the approaches, of which it's a step, and we believe that maybe after some time it will get to a better place where we just focus on the child's
Yeah, the needs.
developmental
Yeah.
needs. Yeah.
Okay. Timothy, do we have any other?
Thank you, Dorcas. For me, I would say one of the things that I noticed that is actually very helpful is early interventions, where we're having learners, or rather, children with the spectrum, when they're being noticed earlier, and the interventions, or rather the steps, are being done. These are simply the services that they get in order to give them or to kickstart them, or rather to prepare them better for the future. Early intervention does not only apply to the learners, or rather the child, it also applies to the families, where now these families are being, they are being educated, they are being informed, they know these things happen. They're no longer, in the dark side where they used to say probably, nimefanyiwa, and sort of things. Yeah, so I would say early intervention, which actually ranges from around 0 to 6 years, is good because it actually, in a way, breaks down everything for them, forming the very basic foundation that is actually required for this child to excel in future. Yeah. Another thing I can also talk about, which is also more in the technological world, is the assistive technologies. Like they were saying, we have the AAC, We have the visual boards where learners can be able to also know what happens next or what should come next, or what should be done now. More in the visual kind of concept. Yeah, we have the sensory kits where they are able to now calm down whenever they have these sensory overloads and stuff. So, yeah, I think those are some of the basic, interventions that have been done around, which have actually given a really good start when it comes to SNE. Yeah.
And I think you talked about a very key one, like a key topic of early intervention. Yes,
Sure.
like when we introduce early intervention to our neurodivergent individuals, I feel like it plays a very important role, especially if the child has been diagnosed early.
Yeah.
So, like, we're asking, what is the parent waiting for? The next step should be taken, right?
Yeah.
So maybe Simon, you can expound for us more about early intervention and how it helps our neurodivergent individuals, especially growing up and later on in life.
Oh, okay. So, early intervention. What really is early intervention? Now, I think this is whereby we identify a problem early enough and then consult with the relevant individual or specialists, and then we now start incorporating plans and activities in order to make this child grow. So, why is early intervention very important, and how do we, at what point do we say, now this is early intervention, or what's the purpose, in short? Now, mostly when I have a problem, if I don't know I have a problem,
I will not
usually
intervene.
I will not intervene, or I will not get help. Let me say that.
Yes.
I will not get. So the main purpose of early intervention is to assist. Okay. So
Yes.
once we identify this problem early enough, we are able to assist this child at that position. And now, what are we doing to assist them? I think now this is now the intervention. This is whereby now we start speech and language therapy.
If they are lacking in
if
that
they are
area.
lacking in that area. This is now whereby we introduce occupational and motor.
therapy.
Yes.
The
The
physiotherapist
comes in and all
the
that.
behavioral therapy.
Behavior, yes. So I think these are the areas that we look at when we are doing early intervention, and also not to forget the, what do we call it, assisted learning.
Yes.
This is whereby now we identify the areas of difficulty when it comes to learning. Now we introduce the teachers now into doing that. Did you talk about language and
Yes.
speech and language therapy? Yes, all these people now come in now to help
help
this
the
child
student.
grow in all these areas. A math teacher would come in to help with the cognitive skills, and occupational therapist will come in to help with the motor skills and all those. Language and speech therapy will come and help with the language development.
Yes.
And we will also have a psychosocial support who will come with now emotional guidelines and how to regulate all these things.
That's true.
Yes.
Yes.
So I think early intervention plays a crucial role
It plays a
in
key role.
helping these children, and I think it is one of the universally
Methods or practices.
or practices. Yes, and also there is this thing, to add on what is being said, there is this thing called stakeholder sensitization.
Okay.
Sensitizing people and making them aware that we have
Very key.
these problems in the society.
Yes.
They are not to be overlooked, and again, they are not to be ignored,
Yes.
or even They are not to be
or stigmatize
extremely,
people
yes,
on
yeah.
it.
Now you are extremely on it. I am, my child is autistic. I need,
Eh,
yeah. Or even some people saying, this, like, just since that is, make them aware. These are
yeah,
problems
sure.
in the
In the
society.
society.
Just like we can have someone who is speaking, communicating, yes, but in a different language, we
Yes.
have another person who is able to communicate, yes, but now
But in a different
in a
way.
different way. You see?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think let me interject. When we are talking about early intervention and the way you're explaining it, a parent out there or a guardian could be wondering, maybe they waited for too long before they recognized what the problem was with their child, or they just didn't know what was happening, or they knew what was happening and they didn't know what they should do. Can we say that there's still hope for them?
Yeah.
Maybe their child is maybe above 20 years. Can we still say that there's hope for them, especially if they're lacking in the basic life skills?
So, Dorcas, I can say this. There is always hope in everything. As long as we are there, as long as we are expecting another minute, there is always hope. And maybe someone there is wondering how early is early and how late is late.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those who are into parenting or those who have done parenting before, we all know that a child is supposed to start having language development at this
At this
given age. A child is supposed to be able to lift their leg or even move around at this
Crawl,
age. Crawl,
stand, walk,
yeah. Start blabbing, is it
babbling.
babbling? Yeah, at a certain
At a certain age. Yeah.
So maybe when they are starting now to pass that age, and then now we start asking ourselves, or even we start asking fellow parents, if there are any, yeah? My child is attaining this age. I cannot see them do this. You see, we are a society of very bright people, of people who are into different things and different fields. If I come to you and tell you, kijana yangu is supposed to be doing this, usually up at this age,
Yes.
but I can't see them doing this. What do you think could be the problem? You see, here we have not even started talking about intervention.
Yes.
We are still trying to find this problem. Could it be just a delay? And
Or
if
is
it
it
is
something to seek professional
help on,
Yeah.
you see? Yeah, so we can always assess these problems at individual levels first.
Yes.
Ask within peers or even fellow people. And then, if it is now starting to create a worry, I think this one, it will not take time before you notice that this one is supposed to be talking, they are not talking. This one is supposed to be able to stand, walk, crawl, do this, but they are not doing. And then that is now when you start seeking professional help. And professional help in this area will be also a step at a time. You won't walk into an office and tell someone, my child is not walking. I want him to walk. He is 7 years. He's supposed to be walking. Why is he not walking?
Yes.
Yeah. So the person whose office you are visiting will call for something called an assessment, and mostly diagnosis. They'll diagnose or do anything. Whatever they do, at each professional has their way of assessing and finding a problem or even a solution to a problem that we have. So when we bring these professional heads together to assess and recommend, now after all this is when now we start the intervention plans. Now for the legs, let's do this. For the voice, let's do this. For this, let's do this. Let's have someone help him do this. Let's have this, help them do this. I think it is something that can be done at any age, at any time, given the professional advice that you get.
Sure.
But primarily is we always have hope, and there is always hope.
Great. They can always seek intervention at whatever age and at whatever point their children are at.
Yes. The moment you realize there might be a problem, if possible, just seek help. Just seek at any time.
Great. So what do we feel is our African reality in relation to these practices that we just mentioned that are working in the SNE sector? Like, what is our African reality? Are we utilizing them? Are we lacking on the resources? How do we feel? How do we feel we are? Like, where are we at? Maybe Cheryl, you can help us with that.
Okay, as per now in our African society or in our African maybe countries, there's still some things that are affecting these ways. For example, things like maybe stigma. We find that most parents are still facing this issue because we find that it's about acceptance. Most of the parents haven't accepted that maybe
this is a condition I have to live with for the rest of my child's life.
So you find that most like some parents haven't accepted that maybe my kid is maybe is having this condition, and this is the way that maybe I should follow for my kid to maybe get help somewhere. And you find that in these cases, in where parents haven't accepted that maybe my kid has got a condition, in this case, they're going to just put the child maybe hidden somewhere. They don't want people to even see the child. In this case, they want to take the child to the relevant place for relevant assistance. And in this case, the problems will still be there. The special needs learners won't still be want to get help and such because they are just hidden in the house. They're not being brought out to the therapy station, or therapy places, or even schools to enable the whole growth of the child. Yeah, and so I think parents should just maybe accept these conditions as well, because everyone is born. Maybe everyone has got a challenge. No one is perfect. Yeah. So because the earlier you accept a condition, the better. Because remember the importance of the early intervention in the special needs sector.
Is to help the child to improve,
to help the child to improve. And the earlier, the better.
And the earlier, the better, Okay, what other reality are we facing in Africa or in Kenya?
Thank you very much, Dorcas. Well, in my experience, I'll say in African countries, I think one of the major concerns that we do have is the financial allocation, or rather the financial resources. You'll find that, for example, in most African countries, the government has not allocated enough funds for individuals in the SNE. Most of the funds are being allocated to individuals in the maybe to learners in the mainstream schools, and also maybe to infrastructure. You'll find that a percentage that is being allocated to cater, or rather to help in providing the services and also the support needed for individuals in the spectrum is very minimal. Which in turn takes a toll in the parents, because this parent has a learner. This learner requires maybe a teacher. This learner requires an occupational therapist. This learner requires a speech therapist. The same learner requires transport. They need to clothe. They need to eat.
And all this requires money.
And all this requires finances based on the world that you're in. So it also takes a toll on the parents, because they need to provide. trained for that, you know. And in some cases, some parents are able to do this, but you find that also a majority of also individuals out there have these learners, have these children with, you know, that need this help, but they do not have the financial capability to do it, you know. So it kind of, you know, it's kind of a challenge to them. Some of them are actually quite informed. They know that these institutions exist and they can be able to sort for help. But what is limiting them, or rather what is pulling them behind, is the financial ability. Yeah. And also for some individuals, they also lack awareness. Yeah, that is why it's also good for us to also keep, you know, creating these awareness sessions time to time. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much. Financial constraints is like just one bit of the major resource constraints that we have. So maybe I don't know, Adola, whether you have other resource constraints in mind that we have in Africa.
Yeah, all these global aspects and views about holistic development or holistic learning, they are working, and uh, in areas where they are well established, we are seeing results. But again, in Kenya and Africa at large, we are facing these challenges. She just talked about acceptance. He is now telling us about
Finances.
financial constraints and all that. Another thing that we are facing as Africans is inadequate teacher training or personnel training. Very few individuals are trained to take care of these SNE children. In that, you find even those who are there to train,
Yes.
even the resources and facilities to train them
Are not
are
enough.
not enough.
Yeah.
You see, and sometimes not so many people would want to also take part into this. And I think that one brings another setback that we are having. That is the stakeholder sensitization. People are not sensitized enough to understand that when I go and train to become an SNE teacher, it is not a label that I am putting on my back. It is actually a professional line that I am following, and also an assisting career that I am taking up, just like any other career. And another thing we are facing as Africans, and this one is also a problem. We have overcrowded schools or facilities. They are very overcrowded, and they are understaffed, and areas of utilities and materials or resources are also undersupplied.
Yes.
So you find an institution has, let's say, 70 learners with SNE. Remember, here we have someone with hearing impairments, someone with maybe sight loss,
Yes.
someone with mobility issues, someone with neurodivergence, ADHD, autism, and all these.
And they all require different
They all
resources.
require different resources, different personnel, and even different approaches. But you find they are maybe put in one place, are being attended to by maybe an individual or two. So you find maybe in a good case scenario, 2 or 3 will benefit. But what happens to the rest of the 67 who are not able to do this or do that in this setup? So I think our institutions are overcrowded and understaffed, and also they are under-resourced.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So these are some of the constraints that we are going to be trying as much as we can in the future with whatever small we get, right? To encourage growth, or rather to to see how we can help, especially with creating awareness. You know, what we are doing here is not just discussing matters. We are also helping to create awareness for people who have no clue about what is happening and how the grading system in most of our schools is affecting our students. Because you find, even in the mainstream schools, you find some neurodivergent individuals who are put together with the typical kids, and they are expected to perform the same way as them, and yet their ability is way different. You know, the way they understand, the way they process the information is not the same as how the typical kids are processing the information, and that becomes a challenge for them if they don't have the right personnel for them to help them in the classroom. Yeah. So thank you very much, our viewers. We have come to the end of our discussion. In conclusion, we are just here. We are just creating awareness and encouraging everyone to be on the lookout for the things that will need intervention and change. And in whatever small way that you can bring a change wherever you are, we advocate for change always. Thank you very much. My name is Dorcas Mumo. I have been your host for today, and we look forward to seeing you again and again in our next episodes. Please look out for our next episodes or the past episodes if you haven't watched. At Beyond the Spectrum podcast, we usually post it on YouTube or on our TikTok pages, and the pages are Bloom Garden Autism Academy and Bloom Garden International School, or Bloom Garden Vocational Training Center. If you would like to reach out to us or give us a visit, we will always be here for you. You can always visit us. Bloom Garden Autism Academy is located along Mudangari Road in Lavington. We have Bloom Garden International School along Gatundu Close, and Bloom Garden Vocational Training Center along Nyeri Road, both in Kileleshwa. Bloom Garden International School and Bloom Garden Vocational Training Center. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you in the next episodes.